Good morning. Our lecture today is about deposit creation and money multiplier. But before starting this, we have to know what's meant by money supply and monetary base, or in other words, what are the monetary aggregates. There are three main monetary aggregates. Number one, M node, or can be written as MB, which is the monetary base, which is calculated as C plus R, where C is the currency in circulation, which is paper, money, and coins. And R is reserves. M1, which is the narrowest definition of money supply, it is consists of currency in circulation and deposits and demand deposits or checkable deposits. While M2, which is M1 plus quasi money, or can be written as M1 plus time and saving deposits, in addition to all types of deposits in foreign currency. In this chapter, we would like to know what is the relationship between the monetary base and the money supply, and how the change in any one of these components will affect monetary base and money supply. Let's start with the simplest form of deposit creation. What is the process or the multiple deposit creation process? In order to be able to predict or understand the relationship between uh, deposit creation and or in another words, in order to be able to understand the process of deposit creation in the banking sector, there are a number of assumptions for in order to simplify the process creation process. Number one, currency in circulation equals zero, or there is no currency in circulation, which means that people has no money in hand. Number two, there is no excess reserves, which means that the banks should keep just the required reserves, and there isn't any excess reserves should be kept by the bank. And finally, number three, only one type of deposit is allowed, which is the checkable deposits, which means there is no saving or time deposits. The story is going to start with Gugu, which is going to deposit $1,000 in the bank. And we know that the required reserve ratio by the central bank is 10%. As an initial T account for this transaction, Gugu is going to deposit 1,000 in bank A, So in the liability side, there is an increase for deposits by 1,000, and with respect to reserves, it will increase by 1,000 as well. But as we said that there is no excess reserves and the bank should keep 10%. 10% of the 1,000, it is 100. So the bank is going to keep 100 and the other 900 will be used in any other assets, say for example loans. So now this is for bank A. Deposits is 1,000 and the reserves is 100 and loans will be 900. This loan is taken by Samson. So as we said that there is no currency in circulation, so Samson is not going to use this money, but he is going to deposit this money in another bank. So Samson is going to deposit 900 in Bank B. Bank B is going to keep a required reserves of 900 multiplied by 10%. So it is 90. And the remaining part, which is loans, will be 810. 810 is the loan taken by Ruru. Ruru is going to deposit, as there is no currency in circulation, she is going to deposit this money in another bank, which is Bank C. So she is going to deposit 810. The required reserves in this case will be 0.1 multiplied by 810. So it's 8.1. So she is going, as Bank C is going to keep 8.1 dollars, and the rest will be, sorry, it's not 8.1, it's 81 dollars, and the rest will be loans to another person, and so on. And the other one is going to deposit this money in Bank C, and etc, 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 and this process is going to continue until the final deposit is equal to 0. There is no additional deposit that can be made. This is known as the deposit creation process. So what is the total deposit in the banking system? What's the total amount of money deposited in all banking system? If you would like to find the total amount of money deposited in all the banking system, it's like the summation of the amount of money deposited in Bank A, Bank B, Bank C, and so on, till we reach to the last one. It's actually a very long steps in order to find the total amount of money deposited in all banks or in all the banking system. We must find a better or simpler way in order to solve this problem. So we can find a mathematical form in order to identify what is the total amount of money deposited in the banking system. As we said that required reserves equals required reserve ratio multiplied by D. Total bank reserves is the summation of the required reserves and the excess reserves. But as we know that excess reserves in this case is 0, so we can substitute by RD multiplied by D, and this is R. So if you would like to find the amount of deposits, it will be D equal 1 over RD multiplied by R. So if it is a change, it's not an actual value, it will be a change in deposits equal 1 over RD multiplied by change in reserves. This is known as simple deposit multiplier. Returning back to our example, in the initial balance sheet, in the initial T account, what is the amount of reserves in the first T account? Reserves in the first one is 1,000. So we can use this R equal 1,000, and the required reserve ratio, as we said before, it's 0.1. So we can calculate the deposit multiplier as 1 over 0.1, which is 10. So in order to calculate D, or a change in D, it will be 10 multiplied by 1,000. It's 10,000. So the total amount of deposited in all the banking system will be 10,000, which is the summation of 1,000 plus 900 plus 810 plus till we reach 10,000. This means that the initial amount of reserves, which is 1,000, so the increase in reserves by 1,000 has caused an increase in deposit creation in all the banking system by 10,000. So this means that reserves is multiplied or magnified 10 times in order to find the deposits. This is the multiplier effect. This is the end of our lecture today. Next time we are going to talk about money multiplier in case of M1 and deposit multiplier in case of M1. Thank you and see you next week.